Oh, has it started? Has it started? I'm alive. Let's have a look, see if I can see me son on. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Shake, shake, squeeze, squeeze, and throw it back to the trap and hit play, Jace. Alan McVicker. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight on. Well, this is the Raconteurs news. I was going to do a Wednesday show. I've decided not to do one tonight. My wife's been poorly all day, so I've been looking after her. As you can see, the remnants of her poorly, the settee behind me. So she's been poorly today, and so I didn't put a show together. But I did want to come on, and I did want to talk about what the aftermath of what went on last night. Because I've not put my opinion, I've not said anything about it on social media. So I thought the best way. I don't want people to see what I think and who don't really give a shit. So anybody who's going to tune in or anyone's going to watch it, they obviously give a shit or at some level. Why I don't know, but people do. We had last night. We had a guest on, Shane Gibbs, and co-interviewing with me, co-presenting with me was Anne-Marie Carey. Now Anne-Marie offered see how posh I am. Offered her services after when it became when Adi went away. She said, if you want me to come in, I can do a number of subjects, and I can see to a number of subjects. I've got expertise in a number of subjects, and I'll probably have to fulfil all this criteria. Now, everything went well with Anne-Marie Carey, and it was just us when we were doing the interviews ourselves. But last night was the first time that we'd had an interviewee on, and that was Shane Gibbs. And I noticed this morning that there's been a lot of arguing between Anne-Marie Carey and Shane Gibbs after last night's show. Here's my point of view, right? I invited Shane Gibbs onto my show, right? I invited him on. So it doesn't matter whether I agree with him or disagree with him. I invited him on my show, so I'm responsible for him coming on the show. As far as I was concerned, my job as an interviewer is to ask questions and try to coax as much out of the person that you're interviewing. They can tell their story, but you try to coax as much out of them as you can in order for other people to make an opinion. You don't make an opinion yourself. Now, there were a lot of people in the chat room last night that were saying that he kept interrupting Anne when she was talking, but and saying, we wanted to hear what Anne had got to say. Well, look, we've had shows where Anne has said what she's got to say, and I don't think she was saying anything much different. But it did seem to be a little bit confrontational, and afterwards that manifested itself. Now, that's not why I do Raconteurs news. I don't want to do Raconteurs. I don't want to bring somebody on just to rip them to pieces, to call them a shill, and by the end of the night, the next day, there's he's being called a shill and a gatekeeper and all these things that can't be proven, and that's then going all over the place, and people are seeing it's coming from our show, and that's not what our show's about. Our show is not about that. Our show is about people coming along and being challenged. Yeah, I agree. I do challenge people. I challenged Shane last night. If you look back at the interview, I challenged Shane on him saying that on him saying that he couldn't understand people that didn't have open enough minds to not be, to read something other than the Sun. And then I said, well, you gave me criticism because I had an more open mind, and I interviewed somebody that you didn't agree with. And we were having that conversation between us, and it was very civil. And then sort of Anne jumped in and wanted to read from the elders of Zion, which was nothing to do with what we were talking about. And at the time, I didn't understand the reason for it. And look, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. All I'm saying is that that's not what we're about. I don't want somebody to go away from Raconteurs News and think, well, hang on a minute, or even somebody who I ask people on for interviews, and I don't want people to think, well, you come on Raconteurs News and then you just get dive bombed, and then afterwards, you're attacked, and you're told you're a troll, or you're a gatekeeper, or you're this or you're that or the other, without really any evidence. It's just that, I saw his eyes and I could see that what's in him. Then someone posted a staff picture of him. So we're not in context at all, and I don't want to be part of that. I want to do Raconteurs News so that we can talk to each other, and then afterwards, after we've finished talking to each other, even if we've disagreed completely, by the end of it, we can leave each other alone. And I don't want Raconteurs News to become a place where people come along and they think they're just going to be ambushed. And I had messages from Shane last night, which was saying to me that from Shane, just saying that I wish you'd have told me that you just wanted me to come on so that I could get a lecture on 5G. I mean, we've covered the 5G stuff many times, and I understand Anne's passion in all this. I completely understand it, but what we have to do is we have to curb that. We have to put that into parameters. Otherwise, we're never going to grow. We're never going to grow and be able to understand what somebody else thinks if all we're going to do is just remove them. And I noticed that this morning on Facebook, she blocked him, and I've been getting messages all day from both of them. Both telling me, I think Anne-Marie said to me that she thought he was the new Mark Steele, which I don't know what that means. I don't know whether that means that he's going to be he's doing some this or that. But these were all things that were just completely a complete waste of time. It completely, and people talk about getting us away from what's real and what we should be concentrating on, and yet then they are moving us away. And look, if you don't agree with what Shane Gibbs says, just don't look at Shane Gibbs' stuff. Don't watch the show. That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to go, right, you're a government shill, you're this, you're that, you're the other, you're, God knows what. It just, for me, has just got to a point where it's got to a point where we're not grown up enough to be able to talk to each other. If we can't talk to each other, there's things I don't agree with Shane. But I did try to bring him in a way that we're saying, sort of, aren't you paranoid? Couldn't somebody say you were paranoid? Whereas Anne was just jumping in and then trying to school him on 5G, and I just thought that. I thought that didn't work. I didn't think that was an interview. I thought an interview was you ask people questions, they answer the questions, then you have people in the chat room who then join in and may ask questions, and then if I spot those questions, I will ask them. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to sit there and lecture somebody on something that when they've been invited on my show, it's like they've been invited on my show for me to lecture them. I hope you understand this. This is how I want this to go. And then I know I'm not massive. I'm not in. There's not very many people that follow Anne-Marie that are in my fan club, I've seen the things that they write, and they say that, you know, my style's this, and I'm ooming and ahhing and this and that. I'm not a presenter. All I am is just a bloke in my house, and I'm just trying to bring a little bit of. I'm trying to bring her a little bit of other people's opinions, but when you suppress those opinions and you're arguing and you deliberately conflicting with the guest, then that's not conducive to getting guests on in future. And there are other ways to do it. You know, you could say, do you know about this, or do you know about that? And no, I don't know about this. I don't know about it. Send me information, and you know, and I'll deal. Look, this is all. I just thought that last night it went a little bit beyond that, and then afterwards, when I saw the shenanigans that had gone on Facebook, I thought that was. I thought it was. It didn't represent us, Raconteurs News. I keep saying us because, well, us, the people here at Raconteurs News. It's not just me. The people who do the chat room and stuff like that. It's just, you know, it seems that there's been a split in there as well. Listen, look at this. It's just like, let me just have a look at these comments that are coming in now. I'm going for a JJ. I'm doing a J for Jason. He seems he needs one. Yeah, I do. I'm going to get one. How did you become a mod, Ron? Well, yeah. Yeah, Nick. If you can become a mod, I think we're up to speed. I think we've got 5 now. All people that I completely trust, and that's what I'm talking about when I say us at Raconteurs News. I mean, we're all here. The people that are in the chat room, the people that that tune in every week just to listen to the nonsense that, as far as I'm concerned, that I talk. You know, the just the shit that's in my head. I just talk. You know. It's amazing. Let's face it, we're in the same security. We're in the same security service on the same compartmentalized mission. We don't have a fucking clue who is a gatekeeper, shill operative. And yeah, you're true. Yeah, that's right. We've got no idea who is and who isn't. But to start going around and calling people things like that, it's just. It just seems like we've gone to a point where we don't really need to be doing this. I wanted to listen to what he got to say last night. I wanted to listen to his experiences. I wanted to get into a lot more. I wanted to get into the experiences that he'd had, and examples of how he'd been targeted and things like that. We never were able to get into that because we got into a discussion of generic sort of 5G and how it were going to affect society and all that. And you know, I said to somebody. I said to somebody on an email today. I sent an email to somebody today who texted me, and I can't text back because they've cut my phone off, so I've not paid my bill. But they don't realise I don't give a fuck anyway, so I never use it. But you know, I can't send him a text message, so I sent him an email and I said I don't want this because, you know, it's like. She was so intent on talking 5G and her own agenda, and that I said it was almost like, and this is no disrespect to him or to Anne, but it was almost like Webby talking about the bills of exchange, but without the charm. You know, you understand what I mean? It was like, because she was so forthright and so straight at it and so sharp and opinionated and. Look, I just don't want this. I don't want I want Raconteurs News where we can bring people together. Well, perhaps not bring people together, but we can see both sides of things, and we can do both sides of things, right? We can investigate both sides. We can talk to people on both sides. I don't want it to become a platform where then a big shitstorm hits on social media, which to be fair, I've avoided very much most of the day, which is probably why I'm in such the pleasant mood that I'm in at the moment. But I have been aware that it's been going on, and the messages that I've been getting from both Shane and from Anne have been telling me where this is going, and I just don't want that to happen. I wanted Shane on last night, and I said to Shane afterwards, after last night, I said, have you on again, mate? No problem at all. I said, and he said, I just felt like I was sort of like backed into a corner and bullied. And then there were people in the chat room who were saying, "Oh, he keeps interrupting." And well, that's what he's supposed to do. He's the guest. He's the person that's here to talk. We're here to interrogate him and ask him questions. And he's the one that people are tuning in to listen to. I've always thought that. I've never once thought that in any of my interviews that I've done with anybody that what I've got to say is more important than what they've got to say, because that's what this is I've offered somebody an opportunity to come onto this platform and to tell their story, and then for that to then blow up in the face on social media afterwards, I think is not, well, it's just not good. It's not right, and I just don't agree with it. So the top and bottom of it is that I don't think I'm going to get Anne on again. Just simply for that, I think I'm feeling at the moment the only person. Look, I've been doing Raconteurs News for 3 years. I started in January 2016, just after I'd had a heart attack, and I've been a consistent part of this throughout. I mean, there's been other people, Andy, who was who really was the brains behind it, who was the driving force behind it. And me and Andy had such a good relationship for such a long time, and it's sad that that's come to an end. But what we did together, that can't ever be taken away. It's always going to be set there. It's always going to be in stone, and we never really we never involved in conflict. If there was somebody on if there was somebody on and Andy knew more about that subject, Andy would take the lead and would do most of the talking, and I usually just come in with some smart comment at some point, or some fucking tacky line, or some joke that I thought were funny at some point. So and then of course we had Webby on as well, and of course there were conflict between me and Webby at points, and there were times that me and Webby didn't get on, but when it did come to a conclusion, it came to a conclusion, and it was amicable, and we were still able to talk about it. We're still able to talk to each other. And in fact, today I was thinking of saying to Webby, look, you want to do the Webster report, but I know how difficult and time consuming it and everything it is. I said, this is what I was thinking I was going to say to him, right? So I've not said anything like this to him, but I said, if you want, I will, I'll host it for you. I'll not be on. I'll just do the producing, and you can do all the stuff, and I'll do the radio, and I'll do all that. Just to build a bridge, and just to say to Webby, look, this is really how I feel. I'm a bloke, right? I'm a 49-year-old bloke. I've had 2 heart attacks. I've had 2 strokes, and I've had a leg fall off, right? As far as I know, I could have 2 weeks on this earth, and I could have 10 years or 20 years on this earth. I don't know, but I certainly know that I don't want to spend that time being in conflict with other people. I don't want to be in conflict with other people. If there are people that I don't agree with, I just leave. That's it. Just to one side. I don't want to be in conflict, and this is where we get where we're at. The ego thing, and I know we talked about it with Anne, but the ego thing with Anne is massive. It's absolutely huge. It's absolutely huge. I mean, she was telling me the other day that perhaps I should use Annie Logical as rather than Anne-Marie Carey when I was putting the YouTube videos out, simply because she got a better following, and that sort of negated everything that I want for this channel. I don't want to be getting. I don't want people to come here that don't want to come here. I want people to come here that want to come here. People that hear it from other people or see it. I don't want to get into that corporate this nonsense where you're either on one side or you're on another side or you're on this. Look, I'm just me. I sit here and I try to be fair with everybody. I know I've got my I've got my vices, which we all know about, and I've got my downsides. I've got my things that are not very good. But there is loads of things about me that are very good. But I identify them, I know them, I can see them, and I do try to deal with them when I feel like they're becoming a problem, which is I don't see amongst I don't see amongst everybody, and that's what I'd like. That's the message that I really like. I like to talk to people. I like to talk to people, and no matter what their subject is, no matter what their experiences are, no matter what they're telling me, I want to make them feel comfortable. I want to make them feel comfortable so that they can then tell me, because when people are at the most comfortable, they'll be more candid with you. You'll get more out of them. I like to feel that. I don't want to put somebody on back foot and say, well, hang on a minute, because I think you made a statement like last night, which is 5G. We're going to have to learn to live with 5G. And she really jumped on that. And I thought, well, I mean, it's a fact. We are going to have to learn to live with 5G. It's coming. We're not going to stop it. I know there's all these people, they're trying to stop it, but what's going to happen is if when it's turned on, that's when it's going to really hit the fan, and we're going to have to try to learn with it, because it's not stopping. I don't care who you are. Mark Steele, I mean, the 5G, anti-5G thing, it's split right down the middle. Mark Steele and Lee Garrett on one side, and then you've got Andy Logical on the other side, and then I got fucking somehow, I don't know how, but I managed to get myself stuck in the middle, and that's not where I wanted to be, and this is not where I wanted to be. I didn't want to be coming on. I didn't want to be having comments from people saying, saying, you're doing this and I'm not doing anything. I'm providing a platform. And I'm also trying to provide a voice of reason. I'm trying to provide, right, okay, so you're telling me this. And when you do, I've done this for 3 years. I'm not very good at it. I know I'm not. But I've done this for 3 years. And you sort of tend to get to know by 10 or 15 minutes what sort of questions are going to rile somebody up or going to or going to appease them. But you sort of have to find a balance between that, and it's finding a balance between the not pissing somebody, your guest, off, and not pissing your audience off, and somewhere in the middle of that, that's what you've got to try and do. And last night, as far as I was concerned, we were here and we were just going to be asking him questions about what he'd done. All right, we can ask him questions like we did about, don't you think it's just paranoia? Or, in fact, many questions I didn't really get around to asking. But then it got sort of hijacked and then took into 5G. And for me, that look, I know Annie knows the stuff about 5G, and I'd advocate anybody that's looking into 5G, rather than looking at any other shit, I'd look at analogical stuff, or Anne-Marie Carey, I would. I'd advocate that. It's just that I just thought that last night wasn't in the spirit of how I want this to go. I don't want it to go into an area where it's becoming confrontational and then we're getting notorious because we're confrontational. I don't want that. I want us to be. I don't want us to be notorious. Don't want these here fly by night people that are coming. Look. All I'm trying to say is, I just want this to be. I just want it to be nice. I just want it to be a decent place for people to come along and talk and have a nice time in chat room and stuff. Evening. Owen Lloyd Martin. There's a perfect example. There's a guy who's a guy that you know, he's got his thing going on. He comes on our show and he's candid and he talks about his stuff and he talks about his life. This is good stuff. This is what we want to see. This is what we want to get involved in. I don't want to get involved in the nonsense. I know I did with Garrett, but I mean that started with him telling me that, you know, mocking me for having one leg. That's where it went. So that's the only reason why I single out Garrett, because I mean he's basically he's a bit like a cartoon character, isn't he? I mean, he keeps popping up everywhere I am on internet and telling everybody I'm a rape sympathizer and you know, and all this sort of thing. And you know, do you know what I should do? I should get my arse out, and then he can tell everybody that I'm a YouTube moonia. You know, we want to be together. Yeah, well done, Eve. Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for the support. Psyop says, don't badmouth Anne, Jason. Her research is spot on. Yes, I'm not badmouthing her research at all. What I'm saying is that last night, that wasn't how I expected it to go, and that wasn't really how you interview somebody. That you ask questions, and that's not how I wanted it to go. So I'm not badmouthing Anne at all. I'm just saying that last night is not the way that I would have expected us as three individual grown-up people would have discussed this. And then the stuff that happened afterwards, was just, well, it was ridiculous. And there is no denying that it was Anne that went on the offensive. And it was Anne that went on the offensive. And I've never done. I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think anybody could ever go back and see where I've gone on after. I've had disagreements with people on shows. I mean, anybody who wants to have a listen to me disagreeing with somebody, have a listen to the show with John Irwin. URWIN. John Irwin. It's we had a discussion. We had an argument. Well, we didn't really have an argument. It would just, I mean, I would really at the point where I would just wanted to turn me stuff off. So look, all I'm saying, that guy kept cutting her up. Look, this is psyop, right? That guy kept cutting her up. He was the guest, right? Anne was supposed to be a host. I was a host, Anne was a host. He kept cutting her up. He was the guy that was supposed to be on the phone. That was the guest. You know, when you're a guest, you're a guest. You're there to tell your story. So look, the guy kept cutting her up. That's what happens when you're trying to conduct an interview and you're trying to get a side of something, you're trying to get somebody's story. But once you start opposing them, they're gonna block up anyway. And so that's not, you know, he was the guy that was the guest. When you're interviewing somebody, if they start answering a question before you've even finished it, you don't go, oh, let me just finish my question, you know, and then add a few words. That's what that's about. It wasn't that he was cutting her up. He was the guest. It was his platform. He'd been invited on the show. Fuck says flish off. Passes Jason the loaded bong. Yes, thank you. Go mad nomad. Look, that's part of what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to explain that. Look, there's nothing against Anne. And there's also nothing against Shane, and I've said to Shane I'll have him back on show. I'm interested to hear his story. I mean, there are things that I wanted to sort of get into with him that I was going to try and say, you know, well, all right, give some examples, and couldn't that be this, or couldn't that be that, or couldn't that be that? But you know, I just couldn't, and it just didn't. It just didn't transpire like that, and I just didn't think that it was. Something I just didn't think it was something. After I'd finished the show, there's this word, is this a show? I always say to myself, is this a show that I can I can, you know, put my stamp on and say, you know, this is a good show. And last night I couldn't say that. I really couldn't say that. So I didn't want to. I don't want to diss anybody. I don't want to. I don't really. I don't want to. This is not against anybody. It's not against Anne. It's not against Shane. In fact, it's probably more in favour of Shane, because I thought he were a bit ambushed and weren't really ready for that. He'd only really met me before. But then again, yeah, Ron's always calm, as he says in the chat room. Good evening to everyone in the chat room. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday night. It's the 29th of May 2019. And if there's all you want to talk about, just give us a chat in chat room. We can talk about some other stuff as well. I'm sort of getting, if I start skinning up as well, that'll get me going. If I skin up and I start smoking a joint, that'll get me going, because there's been so much shit going on recently, hasn't there? There's so much. That's what that's another thing I want to get into with Shane. We were talking last night about triggers and these things. We all really need to know about these things, and it's not just the targeted community, but everybody needs to know this. We're triggered. We're triggered every single day. We're triggered every single day by all sorts of different stuff, and I wanted to get into subconscious mind and how we when we told Brexit, this is what happens. This is how it works, and this is how to get into your subconscious. Anybody who's been watching the news, and anybody who's independent, who watches the independent stuff as well, they always watch the news, because then they can look and see and say, well, look, this is bollocks and that's bollocks and that's bollocks. But what we've been plied with is second referendum. Now, that, for anybody that voted Brexit or any Brexiteer, that's a trigger. It's a trigger. Now, what happens is you, in your mind, because you know that this has happened before in different countries such as Ireland. I think Denmark had 3 referendums for one thing. I certainly know it's gone on all over Europe, that when the referendum's not gone in the way that they wanted it, they've had a second and a third. But you see, what they do is the mainstream media start planting second referendum in people's minds, and every time you hear that, it triggers you. If you're a Brexiteer, even if you're a Remainer, it triggers you, because if you're a Remainer, you think, second referendum, yeah, it's going to, that's what's going to happen. And if you're a Brexiteer, you think, second referendum, fucking hell, we know that's what they're going to do. They're going to like make it till we have a second referendum, and then they're going to fix it, and it's going to go all out. And so layer upon layer of triggers are put upon. So you might have, by the time you've resolved it, and that's the only way to get rid of it as well, is to resolve it. By the time you've resolved it, you've got about 50 odd layers of that second referendum shit that's in your mind. And every time somebody says second referendum, it triggers it again. So then that's traumatic. So boom, and then second referendum, boom, and it's traumatic, boom, boom, boom. And because your subconscious mind has got no sense of time, it's got no sense of time whatsoever, it's as if it happened for the first time. So you get the same feeling and the same shit as the first time that you heard the word second referendum. Okay, and so that keeps going on, and that's how they get people into a situation where they are so overwhelmed with stuff. I mean, you get stuff through that. Let me just read that. I've got to read this to you. I've got to read this. I got this the other day, and I thought, you know, these cunts are fucking. Let me just get this. This is just awesome. I've got to. Yes, gone for the wheelchair tonight. So those of you that were in the Lego wheelchair draw earlier on, wheelchair wins. But I got this letter. I got this letter over there, right? This letter yesterday, in fact. Now, as you know, I've had my leg amputated last year, and even before I'd had it done, I wrote to the DVLA and said, "Look, I'm having my leg amputated. Is there anything you need to do to my license to amend it and all this sort of stuff?" And then they wrote to me and said, well, what we'll do is we'll be in touch with your doctor and your surgeons and what have you, and then we'll write back to you. They'll evaluate it, and we'll write back to you. I'm up on not umming and ahhing too much for some of you Anne-Marie Carey followers, but that's what happened. So anyway, that was last year. So July last year when I had the leg amputated. So we're talking, we're at nearly a year. By the time I wrote straight away. I think even before. And then it got to sort of August, September time, and they sent me a letter saying, we've received your information about your medical, the medical things that you're doing, and that you've had, and we're going to write to your doctor. It's going to take 6 weeks. And then, so that was September last year, and then in February this year, they wrote to me again and said, "We've written to your doctors, and it's going to take us 6 months to 6 weeks to write back to us. So, and we'll be in touch soon." So last week, here we go. This is where they start getting to being cunts and that. So they write to me and they say, "Right, okay. We've reviewed all your medical things. Now what we need you to do is we need you to go to be assessed. You're driving to be assessed. And for that, you need to take your car and you need to go to a driving test centre and you will be assessed by a driving instructor. But it's not it's not a test. It's not, you don't have to reverse. Well, you have to do stuff, but, it's not as vigorous as a driving test. But, this is what I do. But if you want, if you sign the other side of this form, you can revoke your driving license. Not revoke, what's the word? You can give it up, that sort of thing. You can surrender, that's the word. Surrender your driving license. You can surrender your driving license. So I thought, well, that's not going to happen. So I filled the thing in, said, yes, I'm going to, I'll take the test and what have you, and I understand. Then I got this letter this week, and this is just it's the wording on it and how intimidatory it is that just astounded me. I mean, I'm somebody. I'm not somebody who's been convicted of driving and killing a bus full of nuns and stuff and asking for my license. This is just me saying, look, I can drive. I can still drive. I've got an automatic car and everything's okay. And so here we go. We have received your reply advising that you wish to proceed with an appraisal. Full stop. We have advised the Driving Standards Agency, and they will contact you shortly to arrange a date for your appraisal. This must be taken by the 1st of the 8th, 19. So that's the 1st of August. Even though it's taken them a year to even write this shit to me, they're giving me 2 months. I must remind you that to undertake the appraisal, what you need to do, you must tell us the date of the appraisal by filling in the enclosed reply form and returning it to the in the envelope provided within 21 days. So they say they've contacted the DVSA, which is a different fucking agency to what they are, right? And I must. They say that they've told them to contact me, and that I must take this test, even though they've not been in touch with me yet. But the DVLA is saying, well, if you're not took it by fucking 1st of August, we're gonna take your driving license away from you. I mean, what utter bullshit! I mean, so we've got this bullshit with interdepartmental different agencies. We've got the DVSA and the DVLA. So the DVSLA is the Driving Standards Agency. Oh, Jesus Christ. And it keeps just saying this. Once you have made this appointment, you must telephone DVLA, big bold, within 21 days of this letter. So this letter is 23rd of May. So 23rd of May, 21 days. So 30. So that's 4 weeks, isn't it, from 23rd of May? So there's 30th would be 1 week. The 6th of June would be 2. The 13th would be 3, and the 20th would be 4. So 20th of June, I've got the 21 days. So I've got 21 days. So I've got until the 20th of June. And that depends on these people getting in touch with me within that time scale. Bearing in mind this was sent on the 23rd of May and I got it yesterday, which was the 25th. So I can imagine the letters from the DVSA. So we're not leaving much of a fucking time gap here, are we? And so you have to. So what I need to do, I need to ring up and tell them that this agency can't tell this other agency. They've written to this other agency. This other agency can't write back to them and say, yeah, we've sorted this date out and what have you. They come to me and say, we'll give you this date, and then I have to tell them. It's simple now. Can you imagine if I'm like some bloke who's not got a fucking brain, and this would fucking wipe people's heads out. People, the shit the crap that I've been through in the last couple of years, in the last year, and in particularly the head fuck that I've had in the last month or two. This would have fucking blown me head off. I wouldn't have been able to deal with it, and so I can understand this. So I've got to ring up with all this shit, and then it tells me again. Or I can ring the DVLA within 21 days if I want to give up my license, and tell them that I've got all sorts of shit, and then it tells me what they need to do. So then, right, I've got to, not only have I got to ring up the DVLA, I've also got to send back this, which is the appointment for my driving appraisal, which they've sent to another agency. And the other agency's then got to say to me, and then I've got to send back to them, and it's just utterly ridiculous. And so these are the hoops that they make you jump through, just simply so that you can still, drive about. And every single, I've got to have I've got to have a new style photo card driving license. Don't know what that is. I ain't got one because I sent it back. A valid passport. I've got one of them. A work or college photo ID, which I haven't got, or a travel pass, which I haven't got. Well, I don't know if my spaz badge would make that. If I haven't got 2 of those, I've got to have a doctor, a bank manager, a police officer. I'm fucking trusting them, aren't I? A declaration. Sorry, from either a doctor or a bank manager, usual shit. It's just, I'm jumping through hoops for something that I'm already entitled to do. All they need to say is, yes, all that needed to be was, yes, Mr. Holmes, we understand you've had your leg amputated. We just want to make sure that you can still drive okay. All right, there's no problem. So what we want you to do is, if you've got a car, so take it down to one of our places, and they'll take you around and they'll see whether you've lost any skills or there's anything that we should be concerned about for your driving appraisal. But no, it's all, give up your license. You're going to do this, and remember, if you don't do this within so many days, your license will be revoked. This is what it's about. It's all about fear, and fear stacks up upon each other. And because that sort of thing doesn't fucking bother me, it's a letter. And even if I fucking miss all these deadlines because of these cunts, I still know I've got the wherewithal to be able to go out and drive in my car. And if I got fucking pulled over, I'd just say, well, listen, I'm not fucking disqualified. I've got a right to drive, and nobody's told me I've not got a fucking right to drive. And so, but can you imagine somebody? So there's 2 people, and people in this situation, people that are having these appraisals, right, are mostly older than what I am, right? They're older than I am. So I'm 49. I can deal with this. I've got, as long as my head's in the right place and I'm doing the right things, I can deal with all this stuff. I can run rings around them. But imagine that you've got the bloke and he's looking after his wife, and he's just had something done, and they've said to him, right, you've got to do it, and this comes through, and so he's worried about this. He's worrying about all this stuff coming through, and then he's worrying about his wife, who's probably got a PIP appraisal at another point that he's got to take her to, and he's worried that he can't take her to that appointment in his car that he's got. That he's paying 250 quid a month for on mobility. He can't. He's worried he won't be able to use that to take her, and so all this stress upon stress upon stress upon stress, and this is put onto us by people that we're actually fucking paying to do this. We're actually paying them to put this stress upon us. We're paying them, and it's about time we said, you know, fuck off. It is about time we said we've had 2 votes now where we've set out these European Parliament votes, Brexit by a mile. They're still trying to tell us it's like they're like trying to tell this is this is the world we live in. Oh, you're a bloke. Oh yeah, you were born a bloke. It don't matter. You can have a cunt. You can have a cunt. That's no fucking problem. You can have a cunt. You can have tits, and you can have all benefits of being a woman. No, and you will be a woman. That's it's just fucking ridiculous. The upside down and how we're allowing this shit to envelop us and we're allowing it to become a part. British culture now is becoming a joke. Like I think John Cleese, I think it were. I've not seen much of it. I think it were a Gareth Icke post that I saw. But John Cleese has apparently said that now whites are a minority in Britain. It's not in Britain, in London, and it's no wonder they voted to leave, to remain, because most of the people there can remain if we voted remain. So it's. Not white, non-white immigrants. I think he said more immigrants. There's more, but white British people are now a minority in London, and it's fucking pilloried for it everywhere. People, all this. Oh my God, you can't say that. You can't talk the truth. You can't tell the truth. You can't talk sense. You can't talk facts. You can't talk. You can't say that, John Cleese. That's it. Fucking gone. Fawlty Towers probably gone off UK Gold and Netflix and all that. Like they did with the Michael Jackson thing. All the Michael Jackson stuff were fucking deleted and gone. And it turns out these cunts were talking out of their arses, which I told you at the fucking time. And now it's been proven. The fuckers were making up stories about being molested in places that weren't even built at the time when they were saying they were being molested. This is not to say Michael Jackson's innocent. It's just that I knew they weren't fucking telling the truth. And if we had more of that, I noticed. I've been watching. Making a Murderer 2. I watched Making a Murderer a couple of years ago, and I've been watching Making a Murderer 2. And I started noticing that there's one particular bloke in that that really creeps me out, and I think it's called Kranz or something. Kranz. But he was the prosecutor, and they were just me and my missus, just before she went to bed, before I started doing this, we were watching the last episode of series 2 of that, and it was a film, and he was speaking to the jury, and you could see, and I said to my missus, just look how hard he is trying to stop to not smile. I said, that's probably why he's got all that facial hair, that shit around his face, but it's undeniable. You can see the duping delight, the little microscopic things that other people don't perhaps notice or think are just normal or friendly, but they're not. It's what's called duping delight, and he's clearly displaying it. And anybody wants to fucking anybody who's seen that, I mean, that is just the most. I just, words fail me for that. I mean, it's so obvious that those lads have done no wrong. Well, perhaps not done no wrong, but they're certainly not guilty of that crime. But the state are doing everything with anything within the power just to keep them in on technicalities and all such agencies. Let's have a look through here. Can we buy weed in Lanzarote? Green Jay, good evening, Green Jay. Jason Green, I think. He's from Sheffield lad. Owen Lloyd Martin's in there. Would you assume I'd know this? Well, you should know that. You know where all the weed shops are, don't you, Owen? Especially those ones in sunnier climes. He's in Portugal. Definitely get him on sometime next week, I think, if you're up for that. Owen, just drop me a line and we'll have you on. And always have a good chat with you. Abanzev Roadstar. Oh, yeah, I think he might be in Lanzarote as well. So in the chat room tonight, we are... what we're saying? Yeah, we're trying to direct people to where they can buy pot, which is no bad thing, I don't think. What I might do, because I feel like carrying on, but it's just how long have I been going? Let's have a look. How long have we been on? It's not been an hour yet, has it? Well, it's been about an hour. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll have a record, and I'm going to skin up. And then God knows what's going to happen after I've skinned up. But if you stick around, I'll just play a quick record. Let me just get the thing up that I do with the records. Yada yada yada. Hope you've had a good night tonight. Oh, by the way, if you've not had a look, have a look on the Raconteurs News Facebook page. That's just my little joke. It's just that Andy asked the last time that I spoke to him, the last message I had from him was to remove his face from the picture on the Raconteurs News Facebook page. So I've kind of done that tonight. That's just a bit of fun. That's just my humour. So take a look at that. I'll remove it at some point because I understand Andy don't want to be associated with us anymore. So I'll just remove that. It's just my idea of a joke. So let me find this thing. I'll set it up. I'll play a record, and we will have you back as soon as I'll play one record, unless I'm really crap at skinning up, in which case I'll play 2 or maybe half. If I've skinned up before end of first one, I'll just play off. So. I hope you're enjoying yourself this Wednesday night. I hope you've had good plans. I think Arsenal have... let me have a look at... I watched football before. Yeah, Chelsea have beaten Arsenal by 4-1 in the Europa League. Nobody cares. Which is longest one? Let me find... come on. I'm terrible at this, you know. This filling in stuff. This is the hardest part of it. You know, when you're trying to do something and you're filling in, it can be really ball achy. But here we go. I'm going to play a record. I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and we'll just. If you've got any ideas you want, anything you want to talk about, stick it in chat box, or even anybody wants to jump on, maybe. We'll. Just stick it in the chat box and I'll have a look. All right. See you in a minute. I am a 1 in 10. I am a 1 in 10. Even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care. My arms are full of doking while nutrition dulls my hair. My eyes are black and lifeless with an unprivileged stare. I'm the beggar on the corner, will no one spare a dime. I'm the child that never learned to read, cause no one spared the time. I am a 1 in 10. I never wanna live. I am a 1 in 10. Even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care. The murderer, the victim, I'm the license to a gun. I'm sad fused old lady
junkie in an alley or in a slum. I'm a middle-aged businessman with chronic heart disease. I'm another teenage suicide in a street that has no trees. I am a 1 in 10, a number on a list. I am a 1 in 10, even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care. I'm a starving third world mother, refugee without a home. I'm a housewife hooked on Valium, a pensioner alone. I'm a cancer-ridden specter, discovering the earth. I'm another hungry baby, I'm an accident at birth. I am a 1 in 10, a number on a list. I am a 1 in 10, even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care. I am a 1 in 10, a number on a list. I am a 1 in 10, even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care. I am a 1 in 10, a number on a list. I am a 1 in 10, even though I don't exist. Nobody knows me, but I'm always there. Statistical reminder of a world that doesn't care.
Welcome back. I managed it. I'm just so I'm ashamed of myself that I have to use a machine to roll a joint. But you know, I never were a naughty boy. I just grew up into a naughty man. So, but not that sort of naughty man. You know, I usually naughty man will come and get you. I'm not one of them. No. Anyway, welcome back. Raconteurs news with the Raconteurs crew as well. I say hello to some of the people in the chat room. Rob Malcolm, he's one of the mods in the chat room, so you better behave yourself around him. Super Leeds is one, and so is who else did I make? Johnny Jamshovel's a mod, and also New Being is a mod as well. But it's Rob Malcolm keeping everybody in check tonight. So thanks for that, Ron. Part of the Raconteurs news team. You all part of the Raconteurs news team. Everybody who listens, you know, we've got no suppressed opinions here. If you want to come on and tell me that, you know, that you're a space alien from the planet, what planet? We should name a new planet, shouldn't we? We should have like a competition to name a new planet. Whoever names the bestest new planet name wins one of my vests, one that I've worn. And I'll even draw a picture of a cock on it for you. You know, nobody wants signatures, do they? Midnight Gardener's in there as well. He's evening to you as well. So Alan McVicker, Sips Clips. Good evening, Sips Clips. I've seen a lot of your clips. Good stuff, man. I've enjoyed a number of your stuff. If you're the same guy. Welcome to Raconteurs News. It's nice to have you in the chat room. Blah, 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 blah. Planet Gonk. No, I don't think Gonk's very good. I was thinking arse for the new planet now. Planet Snickers. That's not too bad. Full of nuts. Yeah, Planet Snickers. Yeah, I think we are full of nuts, aren't we? We're all nuts in this game. I'm wondering if I could. And in fact, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get. See if Ady's still up. I mean, I think it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, 4:45 where he is. I wonder if he's up. I'll send him a a message to see if he's open. See if we can drag him on. I'm sure he'd be able to drag himself out of the panda that he's embedded in at the moment. In fact, probably best not to leave him alone at this time in the morning. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. Oh, let's have a look. Seems that what Alan. So, what do you want us to talk about? Do you know, there was some stuff that's been stuff that I really wanted to go on about, and I've been sat and I've been, and then my missus has. See, this is what I should do: is I should write things down. I have these awesome thoughts in my head. I was thinking about. I was thinking about just earlier. I was just thinking about how daft people have become and how stupid. Just generally, back in my day, it would have been sort of eccentric or we had this, a couple of. You'd just be talked about as eccentric. And do this kid I used to talk to, and you think, this is fed down into mainstream. This kid I used to talk to, and this kid, he seemed like a decent kid, and he were a normal enough kid. He was younger than me. He were in his 20s or something. We were at Rittal, where I used to work, where I used to go and load up to deliver. That's where I deliver from. So this kid worked there, and he was the one that loaded my van up. And he were always one for talking. He would always want to talk. You wanted to get van loaded up, and he wanted to talk while they were doing it. So it always took fucking half an hour, and you really wanted to get rid of him. And I remember this one particular day, and this is probably the only conversation that I ever remember with him. And we were talking about. I said to him, he'd mentioned that he wanted to set his own business up. And I said, what's stopping you? What sort of business do you want to set up? And he says, I don't know. He says, I've been thinking about having a shop. I said, all right. Oh, what sort of shop? He says, well, I don't know, some sort of convenience store type thing, like what they call it now, and Best Buy or Nice, whatever it were. It's a few years ago. And he says, I did want to open up an off license. I said, well, that's not a bad idea. Well, I'll open up an off license. He says, yeah. He says, my mate, he says, Dave, he opened up an off license. He opened his up and off license last year. He says, but he says he ran into so many problems. I said, well, what sort of problems? He says, well, he had cash flow problems. He says, well, any business when it starts up, it has cash flow problems, and you have to fund things, and you have to I don't know what the fucking word is. I'm not into business, but anyway, you have to put money in and do all that and raise money, and you have to. I said, he says, yeah. He says, what? He says, he says his dad used to help him. Oh, he says, he says dad used to help him. His dad used to come down and do all this stuff, and says his dad were a youngish man. He were decent and he were athletic and that. And he said he were doing it, and he says he were running most of the shop for me mate. I got the impression it was like this kid's dad who bought shop for him, and we're essentially running it for himself. And he says, no, he were working hard. He were working. He says he were working like he'd be up 4 in the morning and he'd go on till 9, 10 at night. He says sometimes he'd be up at 4 in the morning and he won't finish while closing at 11 at night. And he says, and it just completely exhausted him. And he says, my mate relied on him pretty much. He says, but he said, unfortunately, he says, he says, unfortunately, he says this kid. He says, phone me up. And he says, my dad's died. I said, fucking hell. I ain't got an end to this joke. I totally fucked it up, to be fair. It's not a joke. It's actually true. The guy said to me, he says, but his dad died on the 24th. And I said, what of? And he said, November. And so I fucking, like, that were me done. And, you know, I think his business plans went out the window. I've not seen him since. But sorry about that. A little bit of a joke. To be proud to be an adjective is height of ignorance. Black, white, racism does not believe in souls. Racism is rich man's trick. Wake up, poor thinkers. That's a good point there, son of Wilson. Son of Wilson, he's made a good point there. To be proud of an adjective is the height of ignorance. Like, that reminds me of the story of the where our there was a gay pride march, and there were this old woman and man, and they got this they got t-shirts on saying, "We are proud of our gay son." And I thought to myself, well, why are they proud of the gay son? I mean, it's not an achievement or anything, is it? You know, you don't like work your entire life to become gay. You know, it's just a state that you are. It's just something that you were born with. So why would you be proud of that? And I thought to myself, you take that to the next level, and you know, the bloke's there, and he's going to, you know, he's having a pint, he's playing darts, you know, with his mates, that pub, and he's talked to his mates, talking to him, and he says, well, how's that son of yours going on? Oh, fucking hell, oh, awesome, man. He's fucking doing great. He's graduated from Oxford. He's going on to do a master's at Oxford. He graduated. He's the fucking cleverest bloke in the fucking world. And also, he were in the Oxford boat race team this year as well. We're so proud of him. Oh, by the way, yeah, he loves cock as well. Oh, he fucking loves cock. He fucking loves it, man. He loves cock. I'm fucking so proud of him. Can't get enough of it in his mouth or up his arse. He's just so he loves it, you know. It's just it's something really weird to be proud of, isn't it? I'm proud of my gay son. No, all right, well, you might be. Yeah, but anyway. Sorry about that. Sorry. No, not drunk. Not drunk, not stoned. In fact, I ain't even had a drink of my drink. I got my drink here. I made that before I even started, and I've not even touched it. I've not even touched it. Is that a South African accent, Dot? Let's have a look. Are you blick? Are you blick? Are you blick? That was a mouthful, yes, it was a mouthful. Dave, anyway, how's it going, mate? Me old mate. I keep meaning to join in on one of your things, but do you know the thing is that I'll give you this. Look, Dave, whenever I see your thing, it comes up and I always click on it, and I always see when you're doing your live feeds, and I always listen to them afterwards. Well, mostly listen to them afterwards, but you know, sometimes because I'm there quite early, and it says, like, you know, there's only 2 viewing, and it's like being in shower at school. You know, when there's only 2 of you in shower at school, and PE teachers stood there looking at you. Well, we're in our school anyway, so that's all it is, Dave. Is just sometimes I will click on and watch your live one day and get involved in that. But Dave, I like what you're doing. I like your outlook, and I like the way that you're but I'm quite a shy person. So, you know, if I came in, you'd know I were in there, and then you might say something, and then I'd run away, because that's just the way I am. You know, I'm not trying to attract attention, shall we say. I'm not trying to attract attention. But I will be on. Just let me know. Give us a message when you're. Well, I get them anyway. But you know, when you're on, and talk about some good stuff as well. Talk about Oh, well, you always do anyway, don't you? It's always good stuff. Yuri Black Sisters in there. Jason, can I come on sometime? Certainly not. Not after last time, mate. Of course you can. At some point. Of course you can, Uni. Always good to speak to somebody across the pond over there. I don't know what if you've heard of the Snop Bookfest in a Glass. Don't know what that means. You are Blick, Barbarian, Gonad, Nomad, some 59 Broaders, some good people in here tonight. I've only just come, I've all come on, and we want all we want to be is I've just come on because I wanted to just clear up that last night. It's been bugging me all day. To be fair, it has been bugging me all day, and I don't want to come down on one side or another. All I'll say is that. I just want everyone to get on. I want people. We're not going to get on, are we? I mean, we're trying to. Everyone's according to everyone. They're fighting the new world order. Well, we're not fighting any fucker. We're fighting each other. You know, we've got fucking trans and gays and fucking I don't know. Soon there'll be. What about my people? The fucking the monopeds. That's what I want. I want fucking justice for monopeds. Fucking equal rights for monopeds. Bald monopeds. Bald, blue-eyed monopeds. That's what I want. And I am not going to fucking stop until I get the absolute rights. In fact, more rights than what everyone else has got. Because that's what they want, isn't it? People want more rights. You know, you get human rights. That's it. If you're a human, that's it. They're your rights. But you know, just because you're disabled, or just because you're gay, or just because disabled people, I'm one. I get a good parking space. That's just about it. That is just about it. And that's all I want. I don't want recognition. I don't even like. This is weird, isn't it? It is weird. Hang on, let me just smoke this and think about what I'm about to say before I say it, in case I give a fuck, which is probably not going to happen. But you get these adverts. Maltesers have been doing it where they've been putting disabled people on simply for the fact that the disabled sort of virtue signaling. They're using people. The virtue signaling, and I know that there are disabled people that are in this, are in you know, in the public mind and stuff. But when you can see it's blatant virtue signaling, there were about Maltesers did about, I can think of two, or in fact I can think of three, three adverts involving disabled people. There were that one where there's that one that's really weird and creepy, where there's that woman doing sign language and it's rate silent, so anybody that can hear it thinks fucking telly's turned off. And then there's that one with that little disabled woman in that wheelchair, and she says she's been to a wedding and she's got the best man's phone number and all that. And there's another one, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember what it is, but for me, one, one is it fine, but when you're making a whole campaign out of it, it's virtue signaling. You're saying, look, we know that disabled people eat more Maltesers than anybody else. And that's what they're fucking saying, aren't they? They're saying us disabled are greedy bastards that just eat fucking chocolate. That's essentially what they're saying. It's just for me. And if you don't know I'm disabled, there you go. That's my stump. You can see it. There you go. Those people are virtue signaling. I don't want to be on telly. I don't want to be on TV. I don't want disabled people represented more on TV. I want TV to be something that's a fantasy, something that's where you go, where you're out of your world and you're in a world where you can just relax, and that's what you're doing. But no, what they have to do is they have to stick fucking disabled people into these fucking shows and all over the place, and then you get people saying, well, this is good for disabled rights, but it doesn't go far enough. What do you mean it don't go far enough? I'm fucking gone far enough. You're not going to give me my fucking leg back. I'm not getting my leg back. That would be the ultimate. That would be as far as I would want it to go. But until that, I don't care. If you don't want to put me on telly because I've only got one leg, I don't care because I don't want to be on fucking telly. The people that do want to be on telly, you're using them simply because you're virtue signaling and that your fucking company is something that they're not, and it's just nonsense. Have you seen on TV how just have a look on adverts, the amount of fucking families that are portrayed in adverts that are multicultural? I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that it's, why do we have to have this fucking shoved down his throat? I don't want it shoved down my throat. You know what I want to see? Athletes, right? I want to see the best athletes. I want to see the best athletes in the best shape, and I want to see them going the best and pushing human endurance to its absolute limits. I don't want to see. Listen, I've got no against it. There's nothing wrong with it. I've got no problem with it. It's just that I don't want to see it. I had somebody, when I first had the leg amputated, said to me, "Oh, have you been watching the Invictus Games?" And that's just a demonstration of how we are in this country. That, you think you put people into a box. I'm disabled, therefore I'm going to be watching the Invictus Games because I've only got one leg. Fuck that. Fucking Invictus Games is a pile of shit. It's a pile of shit to me. Well, I don't know whether it's pile. It doesn't interest me. Okay, it doesn't interest me. I think it's, again, exploitation. Like people who have people are being exploited, and then they'll chuck Prince Harry at him and say, "There you go. He's not a fucking real royal anyway, so you can have Prince Harry. He can be patron of that." And it's just disgusting that they're using these people. Now, I do understand, because I've been in rehab centres and I've seen people that were athletes and that have had amputations, and I've been absolutely amazed at them on treadmills and stuff like that. And I think they deserve the recognition. But they deserve the recognition, but they deserve the recognition amongst people who care, not trying to force people to care. You're trying to force people to care about the Paralympic Games or the Invictus Games by saying, "Well, if you don't, then you're a disableophobe." I mean, it's probably what they fucking call me now, a fucking disabled denier or fucking something. I don't care. It's like they try to force you into something, to like something. They try to force you. Like you go to a social function and say, "Oh, fucking hell, Paralympics. I mean, why? What's why? What? Not why does it exist, but why is it on telly? Why is it on TV? They can have Paralympics. Why is it forced down our throats?" And that's the thing, is that people will then go, "Oh, you can't say that." I remember it. I was in with my nurse one day, and it weren't long after this had come off. It weren't long after this had come off, and I would have me iron done, and I'd gone in on my mobility scooter. And by the way, this is my doctors, and bless them. I mean, they are great doctors, but they haven't even got a ramp into the surgery, so I had to lift the thing in. Before I had the leg, I used to have to make a run up and then try and wheelie and get in through the door, but they didn't have a ramp, and I mentioned it to him. But anyway, and I said to one of the nurses, I said, it's all right coming here every week. It's just that it's really difficult. I've only got one leg and I can't really get in on my spaz chariot. And she was more concerned that I'd said spaz chariot. So you've got a spaz saying spaz chariot. That's my word for it. It's what it is. That's what I call it. Me badge that I used to park. That's my spaz badge. My chariot's my spaz chariot. I'm a spaz. I'm okay. That's fine. I don't look. Call me whatever you want to call me. There are so many people prepared to be offended on behalf of someone else that it's almost as if it's got to a needy point, a point where it's needed. These people need this. They've got nothing else in their life. The only thing that they've got in their life is to then, because what they do is then they vicariously occupy the state of victim. So if you're, let's just say you're a white male, no, what we're going to say. Let's just say you're you're a white female or you're a white male, and you hear somebody saying something nobody else is about. He's not shouting at anybody, but you hear somebody saying something racist or something that could be construed as racist. A lot of people will say something to that person simply because they've been indoctrinated into do that. They've been indoctrinated in being offended. The first thing you look for, first thing anybody looks for, is to be offended. And I'll give you an example. On this, on my, on one of YouTube channels, Lee Garrett, God bless his arse. Lee Garrett had put something along the lines of, this'll teach you. In fact, let me find it, because it was something fucking ridiculous. And he was saying, oh, that were it. Still taking the piss out of my kid's nosebleeds. And then you wonder why I had to go to you for your leg. Like, you know, comparing his kid's nosebleed that he probably inflicted anyway, because there's fucking scratches all over the place, and he probably did, and there's no evidence or anything. He's comparing that to my leg being amputated while I'm laid awake, you know, and that's a fair comparison. But what he's trying to do is trying to maneuver himself into the victim fucking spot, because he feels that that's where he wants to be. Because if you're in the victim spot, that's when all the other fucking idiots around you, right? All the people around you, the idiots that are lapping on to him and or go, oh, outrageous. Did he say that about your children's nosebleeds? Oh. And he's maneuvered himself into there. So what do you do? What do you do to counter that? I tell you what you do. Don't give a fuck. You let him fucking write his shit. Let him write all bollocks that he fucking wants to write. Let him do all that shit, and you carry on. Because he's a fucking what? He's a weasel. He's manoeuvred himself into that victim spot. But that's what people do. They manoeuvre themselves into a victim spot, into victimhood. I'm not a victim. I chose to have my leg amputated. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim of fucking Lee Garrett taking piss out of him. I'm not a victim. He's a dickhead. What does it? What he fucking says? What does that? It don't mean a piece of shit. Don't mean a fucking hill of beans, motherfucker. And he wouldn't even know what that means. Hill of beans. Do you know what hill of beans means? Dear Lee Garrett, if you're watching this, which undoubtedly you are, because you've been following me around the internet like for Jesus Christ, I've been every time I've gone on internet, I've had to have a cork stuck up my arse just in case fucking Garrett comes up behind me, because I know that's what he's after. Because he just keeps, he will not stop it. He will not stop. He keeps coming after me and saying, "Oh, you're this, oh, you're that, oh, you're my nosebleeds, and oh, fuck." Steele and Garrett, fucking con men and fucking idiots. It's just well, I can't understand the mentality, right? This shit that's gone on today, right? This shit that's gone on today, and this is not a dig at Anne-Marie Carey, but she did try to get some support for her point of view last night, right after we'd finished the show. Then she tried to get my support by messaging me, which I've not messaged back because I didn't know what to message back. I didn't really know what to message back. And I had a couple of messages from Shane as well. Now, it's almost as if we have to get in there first, and whatever's happened to you, and it seems to be like it used to be like, who's got the biggest dick? and now it's who's been oppressed the most and who's been targeted the most. You know, who's been, and no disrespect to Shane, right? His stories. I wish I could have gone into them a little bit more. No disrespect to Shane, but I'm sat here, 2 heart attacks, 2 strokes, leg fucking fell off, and I still don't think that I'm a victim. I still don't think that there's something going on. And yet I've had those times where it has happened, and that's no disrespect to Shane. I don't know what his story is. I don't know exactly what's been going on with him. I don't know what's been going on with Anne-Marie Carey. What I'm trying to say is that we all try to then get ourselves into this victim position, and do you know what? I just don't like it, and I will never do it. I did it once when Lee Garrett said on Facebook, I've got a wife, 2 kids, and 2 legs, so I'm better off than you. And that was the first time. And bear in mind, this is a big thing that's happened to me. It was the first time that anybody had used it against me, and so it did have a bit of an effect. But I didn't try to use it. I tried to hold back the feeling of being victimized. And so I feel that that's just the way we're going. And unless we can stop ourselves from going, you see, this is another thing as well. Pisses me off. Fucking Facebook. And you see things like these people post up this stuff, and immigrant comes into this country and he'll get fucking 500,000 quid a week, and meet my gran who's been here on 7 world wars and what have you, and she gets £21.50 a week and has to pay £15 on back tax on that. You know what I'm talking about. I know that's a huge exaggeration, but that's the sort of memes that you see on Facebook. And then at the bottom, and these are the fucking. You should always. I don't really do Facebook anymore. I just do Facebook for Raconteurs news, and that sort of thing. But the things the things you should avoid, and anything that's got any of these words in, you should just scroll past and you should just scroll past them and just ignore them. But one is share if you agree. And then there's the, sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you. Then there's the, let that sink in. What fucking sink? There's no sink at my door. What am I going to do? Let it in? What do you mean let that sink in? I already know. You've told me. I'm not going to, you've told me it's not going to sink in any further than me scrolling past it. These fucking memes are a waste of time. They're a complete and utter fucking waste of time and energy. And Facebook, and I see people moaning on Facebook. There's somebody on my Facebook, we've had her on the show actually. She's a journalist. She's called Yvonne Pringle. And I can't even remember what we were talking about when we talked, but I do remember we spoke to her on the phone, because we had to speak to her on the phone because she didn't do tech very much, but she's posting things constantly and then saying Facebook is blocking it, Facebook is blocking it, Facebook is blocking it. What are you doing on Facebook? Go somewhere else. You're not getting anywhere on Facebook. I'm not going to use my my personal account for. I might share Raconteurs news, but I'm not using it for anything other than that. And I'm only staying on because the Raconteurs news Facebook page might reach 1 or 2 people. So I'm just going to keep that on. But everything that I'm going to be doing. Anything I'm going to write. I'm going to start writing up some blogs. And perhaps doing some private videos and putting them on the Facebook page. Not on the Facebook page, fucking Facebook page. On the forum, because there's a forum there. You can find it. Just Raconteurs News, Tapper Talk, Raconteurs News, or just in any of the videos at the bottom, there's a link to it. I'm going to be doing everything on the forum. Anything I'm going to be sharing, I'm going to be doing on the forum, because that's the way it's got to go. It's got to go backwards. We can't go forwards, because forwards just means more and more occlusion. More and more, we're more and more caught into that net. We're more and more stuck with shit that we're told to look at, rather than shit that we might be interested in, that someone might post. We're not going to show you that because you might be interested in that. What we're going to show you is some benign shit from some fucker. I've got a mate, Gary, in fact, who I work with, and I know he's not going to be listening, so I can say what the fuck I want about him. But Gary was when I was working years ago in private intelligence. Gary was one of our drivers, and Gary was the most fucking reliable bloke. He was one of the blokes that you could deal with. He was just the fucking best. If you said, you'd ring him up at 12:30 and said, Gary, I need a driver, come on. And he'd be there. He'd be there in a fucking shot. He was the most reliable, the most hardworking, and the most conscientious bloke that I've ever known. And I looked him up on Facebook a couple of years ago, and it's now this sort of guy. He seems to. It's not that he's. I don't think he's turned anyway. I just think things have took stuff out of him, and he's the most. He posts every single thing in his life, every single instance in his life. He posts on Facebook, so it's like, oh, it's raining. Oh, we're going to take kids out. Oh, going out with kids now. It stopped raining on his bikes and all this sort of stuff. And it just says to me, it just shows to me that how people have been nannied, and not just by the state, but by everybody. You know, people have just been nannied, and it sort of rubbed off onto everybody. It's rubbed off onto everybody, going right down to like Gary, who I was talking about. So anyway, I think I've spoke about enough tonight. There's only been me on, you know. Oh, I should introduce Colin, shouldn't I? For those of you who have never met Colin, this is Colin. He's the Raconteurs raccoon. There you go. Oh, I can wave with both hands, and he can nod his head. Can't you? Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Oh, fuck off then. Fucking stupid fucking raccoon. Fucking no wonder they're called fucking vermin in America. If we had them here, they'd be pets, wouldn't they? We'll be able to kill them. Anyway, let's. I think I'm going to give it up for tonight. It's been Wednesday. I have given you at least something. I did promise you. If you can give us a thumbs up and give us give us a thumbs up and subscribe as well. We've got over 1,000 subscribers, and this thing popped up on YouTube. Now, this thing popped up on YouTube and said, you've got more than 1,000 subscribers. Now you can communicate with all your subscribers by posting a status. So when you get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, it turns into Facebook. So I did that. I don't know what it did. I don't think I've had any response to it, but I did write down. I did put something on there saying I hope you. We've got thanks to all our subscribers, and this is what we can do now. Thanks to you, and even though I don't know what it is. So anyway, keep supporting independent people like us, people that, you know, I mean, we got a half decent audience, but keep supporting everyone else as well. There's fuck all to watch on telly, and you know, if you do, it's going to just fuck you up, because it's just absolute fucking dog shit. It's absolute fucking. I was watching it tonight. Oh, and I also saw a TEDx talk today that I thought that people should watch. Find this on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's a TEDx talk, so it's not a TED talk. It's a TEDx talk. I can't remember who it's by, but it's called "The Art of Not Giving a Fuck." I'd watch that. I'd recommend that. Recommend anybody watch that. The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, because that's really what it's about. It is not giving a fuck, and that don't mean to say that you've got no empathy for anybody, or you're not, you know, you don't care about things. it just means that the things that you really don't give a fuck. You have. I think she has this word called, this phrase called fuck bucks. So, if you're putting if you give a fuck about something, you put in either some time, some attention, or some money into it. So they're called fuck bucks. Whereas if you don't, if you don't put all that into those things, then you retain them fuck bucks and you don't give a fuck. So you keep your fucks. It's anyway. The Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's on YouTube. It's a TEDx talk. Watch that. I'm going to have, hopefully, going to have Owen Lloyd Martin coming on, joining me next week for a chat on. We'll be back Monday and Tuesday next week. So Owen Lloyd Martin is going to be on Monday. I'm going to line up another guest for Tuesday evening. You can put your faith in me. It's just going to be me from now until Adi gets back from his panda hunting expedition or whatever he's fucking hunting out there in Thailand. Pussy, sorry. Well, we don't know, do we? Good old Adi. I know he came in chat room last night, so hope you're having fun over there, Adi. So listen, I know it's just been me tonight, and you've been listening to my boring voice and things that are. I want to just reassure you, I am continuing this. I'm carrying this on. I'm not giving this up. I feel like there are people that have come, and there are people that have gone, in various guises and for various reasons as well. I mean, people come into your life. And then they go from your life. If you'd have told me a month ago that Andy wouldn't speak to me again, I would have called you a cunt. But then again, things always happen for a reason. You got to look forward. Peace to you, Andy. Peace to you, Webby, as well. Webby, if you want to get in touch, I will host your Webster reports as long as I don't have to be on them. But as long as I don't have to do apart from set everything up, and then I'll do the sound and everything. Then I'll do your Webster reports if you're finding that difficult, because I know you've not done one since you. Well, I'm not aware that you've done one since you started, since you set up the channel. So that's my olive branch to you. If you want to do that, then just get in touch with me, mate. Dinny, I'm sorry that things ended up the way that they did between me and you, but I think inevitably the relationship that we had, that was always going to be the way. Like I said to, I think I had a bit of a premonition. I said to Danielle, just before we got Anne-Marie Carey on board, before she asked to come on board. After when we'd I think it was the first show that we'd done, and I said at the end, that show went well, but I've got a feeling that this isn't going to end well. And she said, well, in what way do you mean? I said, well, has anything ended well? Any of these relationships that I've had, whether it's online or any relationship that you had with somebody that you're not talking to anymore, they've not ended well. It's not ended well with me and Andy. It didn't end well with me and Webby. And now it's not ended well with me and Anne-Marie. So I'm going to continue. Raconteurs News, believe me, is going to continue. It's going to grow and grow. I've got a major grip on everything now. I'm starting to talk to people. I'm booking guests. I'm getting things into line. Adi will be back soon. I think at the moment, Adi's the only guy I'm going to be having as a co-presenter for the moment. But we will get... things may change in the future. You never know. I mean, if you look back a year ago, well... Who was on a year ago? Probably Webby and Andy. So things can change, and they will do, and we've got to embrace that, and we've got to look forward and move forward. And I like to thank everybody that's watched tonight. I think it's been awesome. I think it's been awesome to speak to you. Everyone's been awesome in the chat room, and I will speak to you all on Monday. So have a great rest of the week. In fact, I might even jump on Friday night. You never know. Depends on how many I've had. But since I've cut down really lots, it don't sort of the will overtakes me. Anyway, might be back Friday. Take care of yourself. See you next Monday for definite. Ta-ra a bit. Thanks for listening.